On this video I'd like to go over making contact sheets in Adobe Bridge. To begin with, what you want to do is set up a file and make sure, depending upon the unit or section that you're working on, that you have those in a folder that are unique to that particular assignment, based upon what you're shooting. Once you have those set up within a folder, as you see over here, I've got this in a folder under Art 19 Examples. What I'm going to do next is I've got all these files in this folder. I just want to point out one or two things really quickly about these files. You're going to notice some have red labels. You're going to find that up here underneath the label feature. If you would like to apply some of these, you can see the quick key commands. So on mine it's going to be option 6, and you also have the ability to choose stars to help you organize your files. Next, moving on, these are just some different files that I selected. So I want to go ahead and file and select all. That's going to be under edit, and then what I did is Command A or select all to select all those particular files. Once you get to the next point there, you're going to notice over in this window here it shows 40 selected items. So I've got all those different files selected. I'm going to put those into a contact sheet by going up to the Tools pane up here. And what you're going to notice, you're going to go down to Photoshop. So all these different things right here are going to allow you to go from Bridge directly into Photoshop. So you will be working in Photoshop, but never really doing much within the application. So what we're going to be doing is going to Contact Sheet 2, select that. And within this window, right now it's just pulled up. I've got Adobe Photoshop in the background there. And it's going to pull up this little window, and it's saying that you're going to use the files from Bridge. You've got 40 selected files. Go down here in terms of the document that you want to create. You can create a document any size, so if you had more files you could create a bigger document if that interested you. We're going to go with our width at 8, our height at 10 inches, just to mimic a piece of photo paper, and the resolution 300. 300 ppi or dpi is going to be generally kind of a standardized print resolution. Next, after that, we're going down to the color profile. Once again, sRGB is going to be a web space, and a web space just means that it has the colors that can be represented on a website or on the web and visible to other viewers of the internet that you may be sharing them with on a website or so on and so forth. So it's a particular space that's dedicated to or as a web space. And next we want to go down here to thumbnails. We can look really quickly. Let's just stay up in this box really quick. So flatten all layers, you definitely want to do that. In terms of the mode, you want to be in RGB, which is just red, green, blue color, and that's what you're going to be using for any printing that you may send out. And then the bit depth, 8-bit depth, is perfect. So you got all those things set. Moving down next to thumbnails, in terms of place, you have the options to go down first or across first. Doesn't really matter if that's your choice. I usually go across first. And then in terms of columns and rows, what we want to do is we want to figure out, well, we've got 40 images. I need to create enough space for those 40 images, so a little multiplication. It gives me 6 columns at 7 rows for 42 total images, so it'll leave me 2 empty spaces. And I don't really recommend rotating for best fit. I just like them all to be the way that you're going to be viewing them in Bridge. If you do want to change something really quick, I'm going to actually cancel out of this. If for some reason you wanted to change an image, I'm going to deselect all these. If an image was set up improperly or you want to change something, you do have the option next to the Launch into Camera Raw to move an image to change its orientation. So I'm going to go back to Select All. I'm going to go back into Tools, back into Photoshop, back to Contact Sheet number 2, and it's going to launch that window again, so we're just going to jump back in. So going across first, column 6. So columns are going to be the vertical, and then rows are going to be going across the page. And moving on from there, just go ahead and have auto spacing clicked. And then going from there, you can use file caption naming. That's really up to you. Maybe we'll leave that on there so you can see the different distinctions with all the different files. So it may help you find a file later on if you catalog a particular photo shoot that you wanted to work on. Once you have that done, go ahead and hit OK. And it's going to automate this, which just means in the background within Photoshop here, I'll pull this, I don't know if it's going to let me pull it up right now, but it's just working down below here, and you can see, let me just see if I can change, and if it'll allow me. Nope. Trying to get it up there so you guys can see what's going on here. And it's not allowing me to do that. And so after about 2 minutes, it's gone through and organized all those files, as you can see here in this Adobe Photoshop application. So underneath each of these, you can see the specific file name. You know, mine, I just had them downloaded as I download my files with the date. So once you get to this point, it's critical that you go ahead and go up to File, and then you go to Save As. Just always distinguish. If you go to Save, you not know where it's going to be going. With a Save As, it gives you the options. So you're going to have this saved to Cloud Documents, and I want to make sure that I want to save this to my computer. I'll go ahead and click that so it doesn't show it again. And now it's going to let me know where I can save it to. And generally what I'm going to be doing is going to my desktop. So your file browser may be different than mine if you're using a PC. And I just want to go into Art19 Examples, make sure that the destination is set. And once you get that set, oh, that's odd. It should have flattened this. So I'm just going to cancel this really quick. If this happens to you as well, you want to make sure that your files are flattened. And to flatten a file, I go into Layer, Flatten Image. I just want to make sure that it doesn't have layers on it. Layered files will not be able to, send. You won't be able to transmit those as a JPEG over the internet and upload them to the class documents. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to go ahead and once again do the file Save As. Under here, File, and then Save As. Under the File tab, and I've already set where it's going to, Art19 Examples, and once again no layers this time around. Embed the color profile, that's perfect. And then you may want to go ahead and distinguish a unique name for this. You could call it Unit, I like to use underscores, and 6, let's say. Oops. Once you're all set with that, go ahead and hit Save. You can be like, this is just particular to the saving options of your particular computer. I changed it from IBM PC to Mac. And then you don't have to worry about this too much, but once you get it there, just go ahead and hit OK. Saving that, and when you're all done, to exit out of Photoshop, you're just going to close the little tab, this little X right up in the corner. I'll close it. And then I'll go back to the Art19 Examples, and you're going to notice the contact sheet in there. And I'm just going to hit the space bar, and then you can see that full size. And that's a contact sheet. One additional thing I wanted to add to the video is just the procedure for uploading your files. So next I want to go ahead and select on the file, the contact sheet. You'll notice that it's a TIFF at this particular point. What I want to do is launch that into Adobe Camera Raw. So I'll either select on the icon or use Command R. So open in Camera Raw, that little aperture looking icon. And so now once again I'm in Camera Raw. And in order to make this so it's available for the web and for uploading for any of the assignments, I'm going to have to go through the procedure of Save Image. So it's down here on the bottom left, Save Image. And depending upon where you want to go with this, I'm going to go ahead and select the folder. Let's go through this procedure one more time. And I'm going back to Art19 Examples. Once again, your browser may be a little bit different if you're using a PC. And you can see the file is already located in there, and I'm going to go ahead and select that. That's where I want to go. The file extension. So let's start up here at the file naming. With the file naming, generally just your document name. You can change that here, or you can add a secondary name to it. And I want to make sure that the file extension for this now is JPEG. The quality, 10 works just fine. And moving on from there, the color space, once again, it should be sRGB. And then, so now we're going to go through this last side here, and generally resize to fit. And this is an important aspect, so you're actually reducing the overall size of this particular contact sheet. So 2000 pixels is a good size, 3000 pixels as well. You can see what that basic size works too. If you go to 2000 pixels, leave that in there and change it to inches, you get a rough estimate of what you're looking at. So if I wanted to just do it as the size that it is at 10 inches for the long side, that's fine as well. So it kind of gives me an estimate of the megapixel size. So you can divide this by 3, so it should be about 2 megapixels if I go ahead and do it at 10 inches here. And that should be fine for uploading. But generally it's kind of in that range, and if you want to see how that translates into pixels, you just switch that over. So 3000 pixels, same thing. So you can go ahead and do it at 3000 pixels and upload. Don't worry about sharpening for this particular image. And once I go ahead and do that, hit save, and it's going to save my file. Usually you'll see a status bar down here, it's already done. And then once you're done with this, you can go ahead and hit done. And that's it.